Um, Aloha and welcome to our gentle class. My name is Patrick, of course, and if you would like to grab a block just for comfort, going through our four very simple seats here, and I recommend adjust as you need. If you want to take one seat the entire time, that's fine. If you want to take halvesies, that's fine. Itch, adjust, but sitting up on a block, just through our first seat here, Vajrasana. There's so many variations of this, and of course, the deepest form would be no block. If you can sit all the way to the ground, this can be a lot for people. So that block is just so comfortable just to kind of have a little rooted seat. Feet are preferably in line with the shins, shooting back. If you do want to come up to your toes, of course, this is just a much deeper stretch for the arch. Not that you can't be here, but you can see how there's a little bit of floating space here. So Vajrasana is a great, strong pose that's still passive. Sukhasana, cross applesauce. And this is one where, of course, you can always take halvesies. You can have one leg in front of the other leg. You can sit full, what I think we all have been taught in kindergarten or preschool as Indian style with respect. This is a great seat because you can also take whatever leg is stacked on top of you and you can hug it in for a little bit of a deeper stretch here. So when we go into twists, this is an easy variation to actually stay seated in. Of course, if you want to take just a half seat in that style, you can. Dandasana is the one I do not recommend a block for in the seat, and that's just straight legs, sometimes removing that seat material from our tail and just sitting up. However, a block is great on low, medium, which I love, or even high, just underneath the knees. And whenever I relax my legs down onto the block, it just feels so nice and just soft. I do get a little bit more of a lean here, so just making sure that you're rooted through that tail. Last one is our Padmasana, which Padmasana is advanced, so please make sure that this is within your practice. This is a gentle practice. If this is too much, I see a lot of people when they do Padmasana and the ankle is sickled. We want the ankles to be in line. So when we take this pada or pad of the foot up, I usually say hugging the leg in, and as you rock the leg, you'll feel that hip, the gluteus maximus especially, maybe settling in. You can take that foot comfortably, not sickling, but very softly with the ankle up to that inner thigh. Maybe it just stays here in a halvesie. If you do want to go deeper, of course, you can just push that foot out in front. And the full effect of this, again, we love the entire leg, not just the foot, so that when the feet come up, you can see the pads of the feet, toes should be able to move. It is normal to get a little discomfort in any seat that we take for a while, as long as you are not experiencing pain or numbness. This is the most important thing, to listen to your body. Yoga is your breath and your body. So if your breath is not hanging out with you, find your breath. Go back. If you're in a really deep twist and you're losing your breath, come back. Find your breath. Going through our three general mudras, Dhyana, Jnana, and Atmanjali always go to for just that simple meditation and practice. Dhyana, I recommend your left hand, of course, first, but any receptive hand, if you're left-handed, it might be your right hand. It should feel as though that receptive hand is holding your dominant hand. And then thumbs come together, creating this beautiful little circle. You can imagine you're holding a cup or you're holding a bowl. Dhyana is great in just simple receptive form. This is a circle. You're receiving the words. You're receiving the universe around you. You might have been listening to someone talk and you naturally just take this form with your hands. Dhyana. Very simple. Janan or Janana, Gyan, lots of different tomato, index finger and thumb come together. Making that circle, of course, but then the other fingers are released. So you're holding that receptive form, but you're giving out thoughts. You're aware. It might be moving. They might be rigid, resting the hands just palms up on the lap is normal. Chips, lots of different variations of this. But this is contemplation. If you are like me, this is my go-to with a lot of conversation. One hand will always be held like this. You might see speakers who are talking like this, like they're holding that idea in their fingers. So if you have a lot of contemplation, if you're like me, a little ADD, ADHD, who cares about the label? This is good for thought. Contemplation, meditation that's actively coming and going, pragmatism. Last one, Atmanjali, hands come together, and we just have so much. We're just giving out gratitude. We're giving out observation. For better or worse, we don't label this right or wrong, good or bad. We're just grateful. Maybe you bow in this concept slightly down to the self or to others around you, places, or even things that you see a reflection of the self in. Gratitude is our last. So any one of these three mudras that feels appropriate for you, please find that mudra. Bring your breath into the form, breathing into that pelvic floor, letting the stomach fill, ribs lift, maybe shoulders up high, release through the belly, through the chest, through the neck even. Find that breath flowing, and we're going to use a little imagination here. Nadi Shodhana is an alternate nostril breathing, but we can use our mind's eye, just imagining that breath coming up the receptive form of our body, holding at the top of the form, and then releasing through the dominant form of our body, being empty at the lowest form of our body. Maybe it's right or left, but we're going to go up that more dominant side of the body with the breath. We're going to hold the breath at the top, release the breath down to the bottom, and we'll be empty. Trying to pace the square, breathing in, receptive, reversing. Hold at the top, release down to the bottom, and again, be empty. Flowing through again, that more dominant side, holding at the top when you get there. If you're going faster or slower, it's okay. Follow your breath, breathing down the receptive, preferably through the nose, in and out. 2 more rounds, no narration, your breath. Settling into your breath now that you are here with your breath, holding hands with your breath. We'll move from that vayu, that air, of course we feel that in our prana, to that fire, that agni, that more solaris and light with drishti. We will keep our chins level. Body is still as comfortable, but please, if you need to itch, if you need to wiggle, adjust as you need to. Just with our eyes looking up and looking down and looking side to side. These linear paths of up and down, of start and finish, very simple forms. Of course, they have a beginning and an end, but they always cross through that center point. Try to make that center point level with the eyes or even slightly lifted. You can always use your hand if you'd like to. Otherwise, just using my hand as a guide. We will reverse into the opposite direction now. And then earth to sky. Stretching out the nervous system through those beautiful little ocular muscles that wrap around and through the brain. The nervous system, of course, connecting from toes to nose, the entire form of the body, stretching out just through that beautiful sight. You can even do this with the eyes closed. Meeting at the top, full circles from that linear start and finish to this continual. Constantly going. My head always wants to move in the circle, and I just remind myself when I catch it, hey, you'll move in a minute. It's okay. Come back to center. Just the eyes here, stretching them out comfortably. It is normal to get a little tired with this drishti practice. Medical actually uses this now in EMDR, although drishti is thousands of years old. Meeting at the top, reversing in the opposite direction. Thousands of years old as a practice. It's amazing to use this practice now with our cell phones, with our TVs, with all that focal attention we have on small points to realize there's a whole nother world outside of us. Last circle, meeting at the top. This can always make you a little tired. Taking the palms of the hands, very gently massaging the brow bones up and out. Maybe you've got some beautiful eye makeup on right now and it's too much. We don't want to push on the eyes. It's just the muscles around the eyes. So avoid the eyes, hairline, temple. Maybe you just hold the hands over that eye space, softening that third eye, the mind's eye, where we see inside. From that fire condenses like a warm house on a cold day. We see that moisture on the window pane into water, apas, jala. This water form you can always honor through a traditional Surya Namaskar or sun salutation of your choice. We're going to go through a very gentle form here, finding ourselves in tabletop. If you want to, you can just reach back to your heels, maybe in child's pose, holding the feet just for a moment. The heels, as we get older, become calloused, more so than a lot of spots in our body. So really acknowledging that dry point in our heels, wherever it feels good, just to kind of touch the feet, acknowledge the feet. If it's too much to reach back there, just imagine the mind's eye. Wiggle if you need to. Let the water flow inside of you. And now we will set up two tabletop with intention, hands underneath our shoulders, elbows not hyperextended, but a light spring in them, shoulders broad and wide. We're not dropping the chest, we're not hyperextending again through that almost pressure. We're just soft. Knees generally below the hips in that area, and as we get to the feet, it's normal to want to push into the tops of the feet. This is not bad, but I would recommend for softening pressure in the knees, push through the tops of the feet so that you relieve pressure in the knee and you feel an even distribution from knee to toe. This nice form here, we will breathe in, pushing our tailbone out, gazing up into this beautiful cow pose, preferably through the nose as we breathe out into child's pose. Soft here. Once that breath is all the way out, sliding the arms on the mat as we sit up into that Vajrasana, bringing our hands around us, letting the breath fill our entire body and space around us. Breathing out, honoring down to that center point. Maybe chin tucks a little as we find the mat again. Breathing in, sliding forward, and dropping that belly back into cow. Breathing out, maybe a little hiss into cat as tailbone and chin come together. Back raises like a little hissing cat. That is our full round. Very gentle. Repeat, breathing in. If you're going faster or slower, let each movement be a breath through the nose. Make that breath long, like an ocean wave. Dive into the trough. Bring that breath in to rise up to the crest. However, again, faster, slow. I am just instruction manual, your breath and your body. That's what matters here. We breathe in as we come back to cow. We breathe out to cat. You can always take fists if you'd like on the hands, as long as thumbs are out. You can always take hands on a block. Again, we breathe out long, tailbone behind us, head in front of us. We breathe in, rising up, tracing our pranic sheath and bringing it back down through Sushumna Nadi. Last narration here as we breathe in, as we breathe out. 2 more, I will only lead with my breath. Beautiful. No rush to finish up here. As water settles into the earth, or even just in space, it may find that simple form of a sphere, finding that earth when it feels good, coming back to a seat. Blocks are always available in honoring this last element, the bhumi, the earth, as water settles. Finding a good seated position that feels good for you. And this is, as we build out of the ether, out of the akasha, that space. So of course, like the Big Bang, that gas came out into fire, condensed into water, we settle into earth. We are of earth. So of this form that we are, this is probably one of the easiest elements to really tap into cognitively. When you get up in the morning, I would recommend this only takes 5 minutes. It's a really lovely practice. If you can think Sushumna Nadi is your spine. Your spine is rooted down into the ground. So I'm getting up out of bed, and I climb over to the side of the bed. Maybe your feet touch the floor, maybe they're just dangling off. As long as you feel safe in your space, you're going to sit up. You're going to find that beautiful breath in. That first breath, we're going to flex the spine with that nice, beautiful breath in. And then we're going to hug that breath, collapsing, expanding, opening. Breathe in. These beautiful, simple yin breaths. Let your breath fill you from the lungs all the way out to your fingertips. Each breath in is a welcoming of the world, of the day, of the universe, of yourself. You hug back in because you are of the universe, you are of the world, you are of this experience, yoking your breath and your body together. However it feels good, observe that breath blessing you, both coming into the body from the space around you and returning to that space around you where it observes you and it is part of you even though it is not inside of you. A good 4 rounds on each side, alternating the arms is nice, maybe even bringing the gaze up and down as we go. And again, when it feels good, if you do 10, if you do 20, it just takes a little longer than 5 minutes. So that flexion and that extension of the spine is one way to really wake up Sushumna Nadi, that lovely staff in the ground. The next one is going to be hands beside us, shoulders of course, when we wake up in the morning, we naturally are hunched forward. So give them a little wind up. Give them a little, oh, this feels good. And I always go back to, if our elbows are glued into us, if we want to open our shoulders and our hands are in front of us, open the shoulders. A lot of times when we open the shoulders, we're just opening our forearms. So really just opening the shoulders. That's what we want, that clavicle wide, shoulder blades come together, shoulders back and down in the back pockets. Hands beside us now, if you want to make this deeper, you of course can externally rotate that hand so that the palms are up. This is not essential. But as we are reaching down beside us, we're going to breathe in as we raise one arm up. And then we're going to breathe out as we come back down to that side. Again, breathing in. Now you might just touch the bed beside you. Your hand might be palm up. You might come all the way down to your forearm if that's comfortable. Maybe you have a little pillow underneath your arm just to give it a little lift like a block, which is kind of nice too. But you're following that breath out through the center, in through the side. And you see everything we just did with the spine front to back, we're now doing side to side. Imagine as though the breath is coming out the top of your head. If the gaze goes down, try to keep it forward. If you can, even slightly up can really help. Maybe one or two more rounds on each side, wherever you are. Breathe through the nose if you can. The mouth is more than acceptable. The nose just conditions the breath, and you feel the balance between the nostrils. A lot of the times it is just a beautiful process to slow down the breath. Nice. We'll come back to center. Last one of these three that you can do within 5 minutes in the morning. Again, legs are maybe dangled over the side. Maybe you've actually stood up out of bed and you feel comfortable standing on the ground, but we really want our hips in place here. So finding hands either together, maybe supporting the hands because the hands are a little tired right now. Maybe fingertip index to thumb and you make this nice little open expression. Again, you might be concave. Try to keep those shoulders down and back. Last, of course, raised version would be higher up so that you have almost this tabletop. We breathe into one side. We breathe out through the center to the other side. And again, it is normal for the spine to want to collapse here. Adjust seat if you need, but imagine a cord is just pulling you upright through that crown of your head. Breathe through your nose if you can. Slower is better. This is one that I normally tend to speed up, and I have to catch myself and be like, hey, do you really want to choke on your breath here? No, you breathe slow. Maybe the gaze helps to direct which side you're going to. Again, shoulders back is our upper body goal, rooted through the tail is our lower body goal. But all this beautiful twist of the staff that is our spine is from the breath. As we start to shrink on each side, our breath filling us up keeps us lifted and high, creating beautiful space. Nice, maybe coming back to center. So again, those three very, very simple forms, always honoring the tattvas that you are of, that space, that ether, air, fire, water, earth. You are magic. You are a walking magic circle. Going a little deeper into our earth form as we start here again, finding what feels comfortable in your seated position. We're going to do neck stretches here. I'm going to take a block just for a little more support. Again, where you feel good in your body, adjust as we find our seat. Again, neck stretches are going to be very similar to our side-to-side morning stretch as we find those shoulders nice and back. Maybe hands externally rotated. One hand is going to stay down. We're going to keep our spine upright. We're going to just very gently lift the hand up and over. Weight of the hand finds the head. If it doesn't go the entire way, we can do just the neck itself, but the hand can add weight. We're not pulling, and we're definitely not trying to collapse forward, which is the nice part about that external rotation. Even if just with the shoulder, you should feel this down the neck. If the hand is externally rotated, you might feel this even into your thumb, reaching towards the ground. We breathe here slowly. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. And we're not forcing the head up, but we're just assisting. Sometimes just the assistance can change the way our muscles work. Reaching down to the opposite side again. You want that external rotation. Just a little more. We breathe up and in. We just feel the weight of the hand. We're not pulling. We're just letting the weight gently take it down. So again, if the hands don't come up all the way, it's okay just to have the hands extended, but we're really holding that side to side. Breathing here, reaching out long. Nice, beautiful, slow breaths. And when you're ready on an in-breath, assisting the head back up. The assistance is just kindness that we're offering ourselves. Take our hands wherever they feel comfortable so that we aren't concave forward again, sitting upright, dropping chin to chest just for a little bit of that Jalandhara lock. You can feel how this almost adds a little bit of anxiety, and that's okay. When we close down that breath, slow your breath. Maybe it doesn't go as deep. When we breathe in, we're going to roll one ear to one side on that nice in breath. We're going to roll back through the center, out breath to the other side. Beautiful. And again, the shoulders might want to move here. Try to keep the shoulders in plane, level to the ground. It is normal to want to move further than what we are directing our body. This is one of the beautiful parts. A couple times on each side, and then when you are ready, maybe extending that breath into a full head roll. This might not feel comfortable going the entire way back. So please feel comfortable if you need to adjust. Adjust as it is appropriate, dropping the breath out as the head comes forward, in, maybe even just up through center if that's too much. Back down through center. A couple times on each side, rolling to the opposite side if you haven't begun already. Full breath as the head goes back. It's so easy for me to bring my entire spine into this, and I have to remind myself my shoulders are the foundation. My head is just doing this beautiful roll, even if just coming up through center points. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Breathing in, coming up. Last one, we'll revisit a soft spinal twist here. This spinal twist, again, can be done from Vajrasana, our deepest form of Sukhasana. Really settling down. One leg can go long, and you can just hold that knee into the chest, hugging it. If you go deeper, if you are familiar with this Vivrita, this twist, you can always take that leg up over. Your choice. I do not force a left or a right first where it feels good for your body. Now, if you have done this and if your hip is lifting, try to settle that hip back down so that the upper body is twisting, belly meets the thigh. Last variation of this, which is much deeper, we take that leg, of course, and wrap it around. It's normal to want to lift up. If we are here and we're sitting down, and again, we can't bring that seat bone down, don't go too deep. I'm going to do a lot of activity today, so I can go deeper, but I'm going to keep it gentle today. Hug that leg in and breathe. Find that nice deep breath. And just showing you if you are, again, from that gentle Sukhasana, how we said you're here, you can always even hold in here. We twist always from the core to the head. We don't twist head first. We really hold in, avoiding the knee if you can. Maybe your hand that you're twisting to that bent leg side finds a block to push the body up. Maybe it finds behind you, but we just twist the belly, breathing in, just the belly. Finding that beautiful, nice, long spine pulled up through the crown of the head. Maybe we twist the shoulders a little deeper. Finding that nice, gentle breath coming and going. If the breath stagnates, come back. Refine the twist. Lastly, maybe your gaze goes around, finding behind you. If you start to shrink, again, come back out, find the length in the breath, and gently come in. Let your breath fill your body like a balloon. Pretend you're at the circus. Somebody's making one of those little balloon animals. Whatever way they pulled you up into, you still have that air. Don't pop. Just breathe. So many variations that can go deeper here. You can find. This is gentle. Pretend as though you are a baby just rediscovering your body. When you're ready, head comes forward first, followed by shoulders, untwisting, ribs, then belly. Resetting for the other side. I love that twist, but I often do it so quick and so fast that when I do this gentle form, I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. And again, finding your variation. Do not make this aggressive. Finding that nice maybe belly on the thigh first. If you want to go deeper, this leg is actually wanting a little more depth. It's going to go into half deer here. Oh, nice. Or goat. Finding that beautiful hug into the leg. Just breathe into the belly, that pelvic floor. And again, when you are ready, start to twist. Maybe finding a block or a goat behind you. Finding that nice long spine, just twisting through the belly first. Breathe into the belly. How much space can you make in your spine before you twist the chest? Shoulders guiding, gently breathing through the full form of the body. I love subtle movements in the toes and the fingers, maybe a yawn. Yawning, smiling, these are great experiences to have when we are deeper in a form because it's such a small part of our body that's asking to be part of this entire intentional, thoughtful form. Breathe. When you are ready, we guide back with the gaze first, followed by chest, followed by belly. Beautiful. So we're already halfway into this deer form, and I'm going to go a little out of order, which is fine. So one leg might be in front of you already. If you want to block, if you want the floor, I'm just going to kind of lean down to the side here. This is a very comfortable pose, just kind of hanging out on the side. And then as you find that leg that's in front of you naturally bent, it'll find the knee behind you and you'll have a little bit of a twist. This deer pose is very gentle and it'll bring us into our pigeon pose. So as we start to come down, finding maybe a little bit more of a twist, and we're pulling the body out as we come down here. Sometimes it's a nice full square with our legs. Sometimes they're a little relaxed. This is where I absolutely love a block because I can hinge up on the block. It feels nice just to have that little extra support. Try to square your shoulders to the floor here and breathe. Breathe through the belly. That head is long in front of you. It's loose. Breathe. Maybe you play with the toes, pointing and flexing. Maybe you can go deeper as long as it's comfortable. Those hips Really open here. You should feel it in all of the glutes. And then when we're ready, we will set ourselves more up as we stay low, coming to that front leg that's bent. Our back leg, we might want to roll back onto the hip as we shoot it behind us. So you can really come up and just kind of open that leg to the side. And you can actually lean all the way sideways on the hip as you'd like, which is kind of nice. So you can actually roll up to almost like a sitting position. And then once we're here and that leg is nice and long behind us, then we can roll back over and we're set up to just fall into pigeon pose. Maybe it's just a side pigeon. And this is where you can use your hands in front of you to really lift the body up. So those hands actually lift up the hips, and our block in that front leg can come below our tail. It can come into that upper thigh, just lifting the body up. So this is our gentler form. If you want to go deeper, please do not force it, only as it feels comfortable. We just walk that toe back so that the leg in front of us maybe becomes a little more square. I cannot go entirely there, so I'm not going to. I do a lot of aerial yoga, and what's great is I can do this pose inverted so beautifully because the gravity just lets me fall. Two options here. The hardest, of course, is to exalt, where we are actively squaring those hips and we open up entirely. This is where, of course, you could bend that back leg and grab it, make this a king araj pigeon. But you can also humble, maybe going deeper, coming down. Humbling is a beautiful way to honor our higher self because we're not forcing ourselves into something hard, but soft and gentle. Breathe. Breathe two, wherever you are, exalted or humbled. Nice. As we come back up, we're going to sit back into that hip, coming back through our deer pose. So of course we just kind of fall back into that hip. We're going to let the leg that's behind us come up and join the other foot, pad to pad. And you might be reversed in this one. It's okay. I'm going to try to stay towards that path of the rising sun here. Our lovely Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana can be really heavy on the knees, and this is where blocks, of course, supporting underneath can be nice. You can always just hold the knees up as we sit forward and really just finding that nice long spine here. This does a lot for the upper body because the weight of the legs is pulling the shoulders down. It can open that chest. Feet can be further away. Of course, closer to you is more of a challenge. If you can, come all the way down. This again is your practice. If you find discomfort, breathe through it. If you find pain, if you find numbness, if you find your body is saying, nope, come out. Maybe you open the feet, breathe. Again, supporting can be really nice for the knees, but I love to go deep here. One more good breath, and we are going to very gently lean off to the opposite side so that we can set up for deer. Or go. This is exactly what we're doing. So that one leg that we're leaning towards stays generally where it is, as the other leg comes back, extending as though we're running on our sides. Knee generally to foot. The traditional style, of course, is a square to start, just a little right angle. And then as we go deeper, you can stretch. And we really are pushing the core forward so we feel that grounded leg It's so easy to bow here. We don't want to bow. We want to stay up and long. If you've ever seen a deer's body, it is long. Maybe you push through that upper body, opening the chest. You can twist a little more, getting deeper into the glutes, getting a nice twist to the kidneys here. Oh, yeah. These are those poses that we kind of call gaseous poses, too. So don't be ashamed if, you know, breathe here. Maybe you humble down a little more. This, of course, goes much deeper. Do not bow. Head long. Breathe. I love how deep and gentle the twist this is. Last, of course, variation, that leg that is in front of you. I'm going to go sideways on my mat. That's okay. We try to keep this leg where it is, but this is the nice part. If you actually roll back as though you're actually sitting up, so pretend as though you are sitting up onto that side. Yeah, and it's easy to just sometimes readjust entirely, but as you are sitting up, you can really walk that leg out. Nice. If they feel, our Dharma feels good. Nice. And then when we're here, we can start to roll over onto the hips. The hips will naturally lift. Maybe that foot that's in front of you plantar flexes and goes in line back. This is, of course, our classic variation. Block here is lovely underneath that thigh, just to let us settle in and find square hips. As we start to bow down, maybe we get deeper. Sitting up on that block can be a nice, almost like a fascia massage too, because the block usually hits some of those like gracilis muscles where we get really tight, that ropey kind of muscle on our inner thigh. And then again, if you want to go deeper, you can always walk that back foot out so that your front foot becomes more parallel to the shoulders. If you do come here, please, again, make sure that you can soften those hips down. If feet are tense, maybe give the toes a little wiggle wherever they are. If you want to exalt, or if you want to humble, do not feel one is better than the other or that each side has to be the same. Our sides of the body are not twins, they are siblings. They are allowed to play together fairly. We want them to have equal time with our body and our breath. Breathe. Finding that beautiful form. Nice. Very gently rolling back to the tail. Coming back through deer if it feels appropriate. And as we find our nice seated position, Dandasana we're going to come into, and we're just going to do a soft variation of fish here. Fish is such a deep pose for a lot of people, and there are so many variations. Taking that little bit of flesh out of your tailbone as our legs are long in front of us. You can play with the toes a little if you want. We're going to take our hands beside us to start, and then as they find behind us, we generally want our fingers, if not to the side, to point back. And as we stay here, so if we just want to stay to the side too, and fists are definitely available, our goal here is to roll those shoulders back and to puff up the chest. Our toes are going to be pulled towards us as we stay upright and we just start to gaze up. So this soft fish, the baby fish, it's a minnow. Maybe the hands come behind you only if they have good support. Doing awesome, yes. Trying to level those shoulders. Gazing back. Breathe. Here especially, you'll notice the intercostals, the ribs, as you go higher up in that breath, they're tighter. So let the breath fill up and make space. The belly is so easy to fill here. We're not creasing the lower spine, we're rounding the upper spine. Breathe. Maybe you want to play with the toes a little. Give yourself something else to focus on. Let the breath come and go. Do its job. Nice. 2 breaths. 1 breath coming back. Soft variation of eagle. Please, again, whatever seat feels good for you. With this variation of eagle, we're not going to Iyengar, force the eagle. We are going to let the eagle fly. So as our arms come beside us, one arm comes low, the other arm comes high. And as they find their bind, we're not looking for the bind. That lower arm is going to find your shoulder. Roll the shoulders up and back. Look how much more room you made for breath here. Gaze to that upper obelisk, the top fingers that are up there, and where the elbows have met, the lower elbow is going to raise that obelisk up. Take a deep breath in your chest here. So much deeper than our bound eagle. So find that breath. Love your breath. Be grateful that breath is here with you. And if you want to, then you can raise that lower hand. Maybe it doesn't bind, because if we bind the hands together, we might lose the space for our breath. Finding that beautiful deep breath, shoulders still back and down, open chest. This is a setup. We are bringing Kundalini in whenever we spiral, whenever we wrap. It's that symbol of Kundalini. So on an in-breath, we'll breathe in, we'll shoot the arms up, and let the arms fall long beside you. Eagle does not have to be, it doesn't have to be a closing and bind. I love the way the strength comes in with the typical Iyengar eagle. But I love the looseness that we feel in this form. So hands beside us as we breathe in the opposite way now. I got to remember, which way was I? Nope. Aha. The other way. And again, bind just for a moment. Intentionally do this and take a deep breath. Remember that breath. Your lower hand is going to come down to the shoulder. Roll those shoulders up and back. And even just holding into the chest is excellent, because we're really just opening up that shoulder pathway of breath. So as we gaze up through the upper hand, as we breathe up through that upper hand, we can lift the elbows together, and maybe it's just one elbow that's intentionally lifted. Sometimes keeping that hand down, especially softening the hand, because we're not trying to force this. Take that deep breath. How much more breath do you have in your body here? Now, if you want to bind within your capacity. You can always lift that hand, bind within your body's ability. This is one of those poses that I love how it looks, but that doesn't mean it should be done that way for everybody. Breathe here. One more good breath. And on your next breath, shoot all that beautiful energy up and around, encasing the body. Lovely. Let's come to our backs. Taking the knees maybe together. If you want to roll from the side, you definitely can. Taking those knees and just gently rolling back. Maybe a couple of rolls feel good. Maybe side to side feels good. We're going to be very, very gentle in our finishing poses here on the ground. A couple rounds. We did add in that eagle. We're going to have our feet near our tailbone on the floor, knees pointing up. And choice is yours. One foot stays down, the other foot lifts between the ankle and the heel is going to find the lower thigh of that knee that's pointing up. So you have this kind of side set here. It creates a little circle or a loop in between the legs, the center of the legs here, where we're going to very gently reach through, one hand on the outside of that rounded thigh, the other on the inside, and we're just going to grab the thigh and pull that knee up. You might notice your elbow is pushing on that externally rotated thigh. You can always push that elbow a little deeper if you'd like. You can also reach through deeper to the shin. If you are lifting your tailbone, try to keep the tailbone down. Maybe you play with the feet, dorsal and plantar flexing. Breathe here, nice gentle stretch. We're going to hang out here for at least a good 3 to 4 breaths. Settling into this threading. When you are ready, setting that foot back down to the ground, that externally rotated leg, its foot is going to lift up and replace onto the floor near the tailbone again. Opposite leg is going to lift right in through that valley between the ankle and the heel, and preferably again on that upper thigh, not on the knee, just right below the knee. If you're on the outside of the shin, that's fine too. But that little valley between the ankle and the heel is such a magical balancing spot, and you can play dorsal flex and plantar flex, that foot that's raised. You can really feel how it's like a perfect little fit. So again, going deeper, you can reach through the center and the outside of that grounded thigh, pulling the leg up. You can always use the elbow of that inside arm to push on that outside leg, making this deeper. You can always reach deeper into the shin as well. Breathing here a good 3 to 4 nice breaths. Settling in. Gentle. When you're ready, setting that 3 foot back down to the tailbone area on the ground, knee pointing up, flying foot comes up, comes back, down. No heavy strength poses with the legs today. We are going to get our lovely little twist here. So this twist is very fun, but it's not windshield wiping. If you know windshield wiping, your knees and your ankles separate as you go one side to the other side. We are going to keep our knees and our ankles glued together as we put our hands on the floor beside us, shoulders down, so that we can just lift the feet up to one side of the hips, maybe to the left or the right, your choice. Put them back down. Still going to be near the tail, but you feel as though your body is now twisting to that side. We're going to lift the hips into that alignment. So we have this spine that is now curving along the floor to one side, keeping the knees and the ankles glued together. Knees are going to cross along center line. They're going to turn towards the center, finding the ground. Because the knees and the ankles are glued together, that outer foot is going to lift, and your spine is going to realign. And a lovely long lower twist here. Hands that are on the ground, of course, can reach out a little more. Shoulders are glued down. Maybe you turn the head in the opposite direction, just taking a deeper, full spinal stretch here. Breathe. Breathe 2. Breathe one. Intentionally on that in-breath, lifting the knees up, lifting the hips up and over to center. Feet come back to center, past the center to the other side. Lifting the hips up and over, maybe into a goat. And again, hands are down beside us so that shoulders are down beside us. We're going to drop those knees along center line. That will realign the lower spine into one beautiful straight but twisted stack. Breathe. Maybe the head gets a little longer with the twist. Breathe two. Breathe one. Very gently on an in-breath, intentionally lifting those knees up. Bringing the feet back to center by the tailbone. Hips back to center. Giving you a good 15 to 30 seconds to just work it out. Maybe take happy baby. Maybe baby ninja. Maybe you just hug the knees in and roll out the back. When you are ready, feet find the ground, going long one by one, settling into Shavasana, your corpse pose. Maybe eyes closed, breathing without force, letting the breath come, letting the breath go. Shavasana is one of our most important poses because the vibration of our practice settles in. We are constantly moving on the tiniest subatomic level. And even when our pose seems still, there is motion. When we use intention, settle in. When we let our breath be the only moving force, we find natural alignment. That natural alignment is love from the universe to you, the Creator observing the creation, loving the creation we witness, in honor of that beautiful creation that we are observing. I'll close this class out with the mantra Loka Samista Sukhino Bhavantu, asking that all experiences love, appreciation, satisfaction. We all are here taking care of ourselves, taking care of others, people, places, things. Loka samista sukhino bhavantu. Outside of you, there is a breath with joy and appreciation. Welcome in that breath, feeling the simple sensation on the tips of your fingers and your toes, the anima. Feeling that connected sensation through the hands, through the arms, through the legs, through the feet, the connectedness of the form, observing that breath, the anima. Maybe hugging knees into chest, maybe reaching arms overhead, feeling the space around us that we are in, the space around us that connects inside of us, the inside of us that connects around us. The anima or animus low-key, the location, the locale, wherever you are is sacred. Maybe rolling to one side of the body, using the bicep as a pillow, pushing the body around, maybe through tabletop, head heavy. Head is the last part of the body to really rise up. All the senses alive in the head, the body just one, in foundation by all that is around us. Closing out this class with the sacred mantra, Om, the word that is good. Your creative ability, thoughts, the word, and action. May your actions follow you in goodness wherever you go. You're always welcome to join in or just listen with your mind's eye. Breathing in fully, breathing out entirely, breathing in. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you for coming and joining. Very gentle practice. Mahalo. Thank you, thank you.